Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees to order at 6 o'clock p.m. on March the 1st, 2018. The purpose of this pre-meeting briefing is to conduct a briefing session with administrative staff regarding the posted agenda for the regular board meeting scheduled for 7 o'clock p.m. on March the 1st, 2018. For the record, board members present are Tara Hrabachik, Nancy Klein, Candace Valenzuela, and me, John Matthews. Two of our other board members have indicated they'll be running a little bit late, so that's okay. Board members, do you have any questions regarding consent agenda items? Ms. Valenzuela?
I do. I have a couple of questions on item J. So the first one is I'd like to ask why Balfour Beatty, or am I pronouncing that correctly? Yes, is the preferred recommendation by the district for NOC Construction.
Ms. Valenzuela,
I'm sorry.
are you ready?
Oh, yes, I am.
So there were 3 submittals for CMAR Services, which is Construction Manager at Risk. We conducted an interview with the top-ranked contracting firm, which was Balfour Beatty, which, by the way, was the top-ranked for all 3 of those reviewing the submittals. There's a number of reasons why they were selected. They are very large to begin with. They've done very good work for us recently in a very complicated logistical elementary school project, which was Good Elementary. So that weighed heavy in the decision or the ranking process. They also have experience in the 2 very specific project types that we were looking at them for, which is the elementary schools, which I just mentioned, and the NOC multipurpose building. They had just now recently completed 3 NOC buildings, very similar size and scope. They had at the interview both of their superintendents, both coming off jobs of that exact nature.
And that would be construction superintendents, not school
Yeah,
superintendents.
correct. Thank you, Ms. Klein.
More
Yeah,
qualified.
right. Yeah.
You don't want me there.
And is this a low bid procedure?
It is
or-
not a low bid.
So
It's
that's
a
kind of
negotiated bid.
What I think is not clear from the agenda item.
No, it is a negotiated project. So it is a response to proposal. So we can negotiate. We aren't necessarily bound to the lowest proposer. In this case, they were not the lowest proposer.
Right.
We're bound to look at the proposers to give the best effort for the district, which would be the best fit for the district. And so we looked at all those components when in the review process. And they had experience, they had superintendents designated that could do the job, have done these jobs exactly like this in the past, and they can do it in the time frame. The size of the construction company is actually fairly important in this discussion because that means they have power in the subcontracting range. So the way this process works is we hire them very early in the design process to help us in the design of the building. That's why they're in front of you seeing any sort of design drawings, because they are actually part of the design process. But the other part that's really important is when they get into the bidding, you want a contractor that has power in the subcontracting world to procure as many bids as possible, because that's actually where you get your value back for any sort of fee proposal that may be adjusted. The other critical piece is, I'm not sure if the board is aware, we also released a CSP for CMAR services for the signature program components, in which we received no bids, due in large part to the time frame of those projects. During the negotiation, Balfour Beatty agreed to take on those projects without a change in their fee structure. So all those coupled together influenced the ranking and having them rank out top. Are there any other questions on that?
And I'm not sure too who's on the selection, so let's see how it.
Pardon me?
Who's on your selection group?
Oh, it's myself, Mr. Bell, and Mr. Kerbo. And our architect, too.
I have a question. The no change in their fee structure means how much they make for the work, not the cost to us to I mean,
I believe what you're asking is correct.
okay. I mean, you said no change in fee. We still have to pay
We
for
still have
those
to
services.
we still have to pay that fee, correct?
Okay.
So, I'll give you an example. So the whole CMR CSP process was based on a very initial estimation of project costs. So we could get people basing their fee on the same number across the board. And that number actually was 25 million. So they based a fee on 25 million. Well, adding this project to that would actually increase that number, but their fee didn't increase accordingly. Does that make
Their
sense?
fee structure, yeah.
Yes.
So wait, are you done with yours?
Yes, go.
Sorry.
Please.
May I ask a question now, Coach?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
thanks. So on item 6G, 6H, 6I on the architectural services contracts, and we addressed that issue on the reimbursable expenses that I reached out about, but also the method of compensation was the architect receives 6% of cost of work to be determined at the end of construction. What are the tools and ways to maintain the cost of the work? I
So-
mean, it doesn't seem like there's any protection for us.
So, well, the protection will be this, and if I could lay out the whole process, this may add some clarity to everything. So, because this is a CMAR job, they are hired, as mentioned, early in the process. The architects obviously are hired prior to the design of the project. So there's a team put together that actually works to design the project, looking at best practices, looking at materials availability, at subcontracting industry availability. All those things come into this teamwork as they design the project. The CMAR has a big play in this. For instance, if the roof structure, and this happened in my personal experience, I designed a fire station where we had a CMAR with a nice, beautiful sloping roof, as architects do. The CMAR came in and said the lead time on that and the cost of that would be so prohibitive, so their input had us change the entire design. So that process is ongoing. At some point, they will go out to bids. The CMAR will release every component of the job to the subcontracting industry to receive bids on that. That will also be open to our negotiation. So we'll be involved in that process too, as a protection to the school district. And then at some point, we will all come together, looking at all the bids, all these components, and we will come to the board with what's called a guaranteed maximum price, or GMP. At that point, that is the cost of the project. Any change to that project would have to be approved by the board, unless it's a change down. In past history, over the years that I've researched this at CFB, the GMP, the guaranteed maximum price, was never broached, except for a few small instances this year, actually. So the district always got money back from that. So that's the protection that is given to the school district. And I'm actually highly involved in that whole process to get to that point.
Perfect.
Doug, Nancy has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Nancy.
actually, doesn't the architect kind of have a budget of a price of the work he's developing that he's aiming for? It's not, he gets more money if he can reach a higher.
Exactly.
There's a target
So,
somewhere. And one thing,
It's in there.
I asked Ms. Tillman is if they would do during the meeting, I'd like to pull these and kind of just hear where they're headed with these, so that we are aware of what the status is and where it's kind of headed. Just
And there
to-
was an estimate of costs on each amendment too,
Yeah.
on there, so there was.
And
but-
those estimates, Ms. Klein, and this goes back to the whole process. This is really the starting point in the whole process, is hiring that. We had to develop an initial scope for every project, which will be happy to talk to you about, and an initial project cost based on that scope. But understand, that's a very initial line in the sand that we use. The fee structure that architects typically do in most contracts is a fee based on the cost of construction. And so that, again, will reflect back in that GMP. And so the 6% would be of that GMP. And again, the school district has a part in all of that conversation, getting to that point. And that's on down the road. What we have to do to begin these projects and to actually offer any designs that people can see is actually hire the architect to do that. We have kind of a conceptual idea of where things can go, and I'll be happy to visit with you about each one of those projects and where they conceptually go. But do understand, all those things can change once we get all these team members involved and they have input in the process. This is all just a very beginning piece of the process.
So, Ms. Consul, you want us to pull G through K and then let Mr. Finley explain that in the public?
Well, kind of more what I was curious about was like at Strickland, where is this addition going? And at Landry, is there room or is the playground moving, you know?
Kind of what our initial thought,
Just the
designs are.
initial thought, and then with the NOC, which is to actual hire Balfour Beatty, where is it going? And what does the footprint kind of look like? Just real vague. I know we don't have any design details. We don't know, you know, I prefer not orange,
Yeah,
but,
understood.
it's a joke.
Not orange,
Not burnt
not orange, not red.
Burnt orange.
But I am curious about the signature program renovations and some assurance from maybe Ms. Shelley about the beauty or the loveliness of it or something.
And Ms. Klein, we share that also. I can ensure this piece of it, that we will follow the guidelines that CFB has had in place over its history, that we will look at the products, how those products go together to get the best project for our money. Understand, again, that's a starting point for these programs when we're working with a time frame that's fairly constricted, because it's important that we have something in place for these kids next year. And so that all will come into play. So we will be working as a team here as we develop that, along with our outside consultants, to make sure it all fits together in a puzzle that I feel confident the board will be pleased with.
Yeah. But we do also believe it's a good idea to do it in the public because we are trying to promote
That's what I'm
those.
asking.
Yeah,
Kind of
so-
the same questions that some people have had, or
It would
he
be
could
good for
answer
the
that.
audience as well as
Yeah.
the viewers to hear that
Because when they
more.
see something changing, it's good to know what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So,
Questions for David?
what are we pulling?
I have another question.
Me too.
Ms. Wright?
Thank you. On 6Q, hang on, that was the fiber optic network connections. It says connect La Vallita and one other, I can't remember, to the Network Operations Center. Is this the new center, or is this the existing center? Are we going to be double paying for
No,
this?
my understanding, and someone please correct me, that is the routing for the new potential location. Is that correct? No.
To the Contact Center.
Thank you.
Right, it's early college, high school, and La Vega. There's not a connection, a firm connection that we have redundant, we have to make the LFU fiber.
Those two currently are not on fiber networks, they're on gigaband, and so we're going to put them into a fiber network so that they have faster mobile connectivity. It won't be a duplicate because it will connect to where everything does connect now and then connect to the what will be no additional cost.
Okay, so it's
It
not
won't
a
need
double.
rework.
Another one after this will be in place to connect to the new center. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And just a question, again, some of the renovations, are you also looking at updating any of the safety or security measures, particularly at Strickland, La Villita, well, not La Villita, but Strickland?
So we're addressing safety and security in two ways. One, obviously, is through the building program, and so that's becoming a priority in our discussion with our community committee, and also internally. So we're looking at the procedural side and the construction side to make sure those two marry correctly. And so the answer to your question is absolutely. That is a priority in anything we do on the build side especially. So we'll be looking at those things at Strickland and at Landry, quite frankly, that address this security issue specifically.
Thank you.
Okay, so, pardon me, what items we're going to remove,
GHIJK.
G through K?
G through K.
Okay. Anything else, board members? Alrighty.
Boschik, you're okay with Q the way it is after that explanation? And leave it on
Oh,
consent?
absolutely. I just want to make sure we weren't paying twice.
All right, Dr. Burns, any reports by
We
administration?
do. I have a couple of items, and then I'll turn it over to Dr. Warnock and Ms. Tillman. Kind of adding on to Ms. Valenzuela's question about the safety and security. Obviously, we have had comprehensive plans for safety and security in our district for a while. Again, I want to compliment the board of the past when we had established our goal and the second objective about continuously improving the learning environment. It was about safety and security. So we've had that on our radar for a long time. I don't know that you can ever do enough, but I want this board to feel confident in it. We've been looking at that from a long time ago, but we constantly look at it to try to make sure we have the best plans in place, as well as the affect of that, which is our counseling team. I think Dr. Warnock put some information in your Monday correspondence about what we do to help kids deal with that, even if it's not in their, obviously, area. It does have a ripple effect, and so we want to be available to help kids deal with that emotional piece that happens. So that's all in place. And then, as Mr. Finley said, with our Citizens Planning Committee, that is also on their radar as they're walking the buildings and looking at buildings as we look for facilities improvement for the future, that security is on our mind. So I want the board to feel comfortable and confident that that is something that we will be addressing and make sure we have diligence to. So, also, lastly, that is it's almost spring, right? As soon as the rain stops. And so spring activities are abundant, so we'll populate your calendar, get all those out to you. And then also, as you know, the April and May starts the both senior recognitions and honors, and so we know it's hard to make all of them, but certainly the campuses appreciate when you can. But we want to get all those dates on your calendar so you can plan accordingly. So. All right. Dr. Warnock, you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Burns. We met this morning with school districts from across Dallas County to launch the beginning of our continued work with Dallas County Promise. I had mentioned to the board that we have one school in cohort 1, which is our early college high school. And last week, we had some contact with Dallas County Promise, and we are being extended the opportunity to invite 2 more schools to join the Promise for next year. And so they asked us to consider schools that had 60% or higher students with free and reduced lunch. And what Dallas County Promise is a last gap scholarship to allow every child in Dallas County, eventually is the goal, an associate's degree with continuation agreements with multiple universities to allow for the completion of a bachelor's degree at no cost for tuition to the student. So we've identified the 2 schools as R.L. Turner and Newman Smith High School that will be launching as cohort 2 Promise schools next year. And we'll be launching that this spring with students at the feeder middle schools and their parents, and then also promoting that opportunity at those high schools so that families are aware of the opportunity and what that will mean. There are multiple components to the Promise, and we'll be bringing a report to the board at a future date so that you're fully aware of all the details that underpin the Promise. But we're really excited. I'm also so thankful for the leadership at our high school campuses. We met with all of the principals at Creekview and Ranchview want to embed the same structures at their school so that they're prepared for hopefully in cohort 3 that we have an extension for more schools to join. So, but we're going to put the exact same structures in place at all of our high schools.
Thank you, Dr. Warnock.
Sure.
Ms. Tillman.
I did want to bring your attention to item E, our financial report, which includes a budget amendment. We have 2 large items in that budget amendment. The first one is an adjustment to our transportation budget of just over $1.1 million. A portion of that, approximately $567,000 right now, is for startup costs. There's another item on the agenda to purchase and begin the process of bringing on board our software for all of the different function of transportation, including route planning, maintenance of our vehicles, our trip processes, and our GPS systems. So we've got to get all of those moving, but we need some funds set up so we can begin those processes, along with payroll, uniforms. There's many other startup costs that we've got to get moving on now. Also, based upon preliminary estimates from Dallas County Schools, our charges this year are potentially going to be higher than our original budget. So there's a little over $600,000 in that number for that. So that is what the transportation piece is right now. We're working with them monthly to monitor where we're at in terms of our direct costs. They don't know right now because staff are dropping off, so they don't know what our final number will be, but we wanted to get enough in there in the event that it's trends like it is right now. So that's the transportation piece. In terms of where we're at with transportation, we're working right now to get our staff on board. We've hired a director, we've hired a supervisor who's currently running another service center. We have hired 4 dispatchers, 1 routing specialist, a safety supervisor. We're working on our shop foreman. Next week, we're going to be interviewing all of our technicians and mechanics and our secretary. We'll have all of our office staff secured by next week. Then we're going to move on to our drivers and our monitors. We've been working with them to get all of their applications into the system. Our personnel department has been going over and meeting with our current drivers and helping them in getting all of their information into our system. And we've also been working with Dallas County Schools to see what information they will share with us on our current drivers, and we're getting them set up through Dallas County to get their yearly training in June, so they will be ready to go. But that's our next big group that we're going to start in over the next couple of weeks. So that's where we're at on transportation. There's also an item in the budget amendment for technology. You'll be receiving a report next month in April, along with the consideration for the next phase of devices. So we have $1 million in this budget amendment to begin that process. And Ms. Webb is available if we'd like any more information on that, but I believe she's going to do a full report in April on that item. And that's just what I wanted to bring your attention to in that report.
Thank you, Ms. Tillman. That concludes Administrator's report.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of our agenda, and this meeting is adjourned at 6:22 p.m. I call this regular meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees to order at 7:02 p.m. on March the 1st, 2018. Board members, district staff members, and members of the audience, you are free to join me in standing as Josh Brake from the Branch Church provides a welcome message, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Randy Shackman and the Pledge to the Texas flag led by Richard Fleming. Josh?
Yeah. All right, if you guys would bow with me and pray. Father, thank you so much for bringing everybody here safely. Thank you for their willingness and desire to create an environment for students to learn and achieve. God, I pray for a unique awareness of you and your wisdom as this meeting starts. God, I pray for the Board of Trustees and the teachers and the superintendent and staff and everybody involved in creating that safe and accepting environment for the students, that you would guide them and lead them. Lord, that you would be sovereign in that they would seek you and your wisdom and your guidance, God. And we just are so thankful that you protect us. And God, especially in light of what's going on in Florida with school shootings, God, we plead with you for protection, for you to draw near, for your hand to rest on us. And God, I pray that would start tonight, that you would supernaturally guide every decision made, every policy set, every vision cast and executed. God, we love you and we thank you that you proved that you're for us by sending your son to die for us on the cross. And God, we are eternally grateful for that. God, we love you and we give you our all. Help us to be like you. And we pray all of this in the powerful name of Jesus. Amen.
Okay. Mr. Shackman?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. As a district, we dedicate all our efforts and resources to our goal of high achievement for each student. The board uses this goal to guide all deliberations, actions, and decisions that we make. You'll get to see all deliberations, decisions, and actions of the board in open session, with the exception of some items which may be discussed in a closed session as stipulated by the Texas Government Code, Section 551, commonly known as the Open Meetings Law. These items typically deal with personnel matters, consultation with our attorney, and real estate. For the record, all board members are present. We constitute a quorum and may conduct business on behalf of the district. As required by Board Policy BBD Local, let the minutes reflect that all board members have completed or exceeded the number of continuing education training hours required for the year 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, before moving on to the next agenda item, I would like to remind you that the board encourages comments from citizens of the district and from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so during agenda item number 5, Audience for Guests. Please submit your request to do so on one of the forms provided on the table just outside the boardroom door. You may place the completed form in the box provided on that same table or present your completed form to Administrative Assistant Ms. Sharon Scribner over there in the red. When the board addresses agenda item number 5, Audience for Guests, you will be invited to the podium to speak to the board. We will now proceed with agenda item number 2, Student Achievement Presentation. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, President Matthews, members of the board, and to our audience. Welcome. We thank you for being here tonight. We know time is a precious thing, and so we are honored that you're sharing some of your time with us here tonight. And if you've been here before, you know that we always start with the main thing first, and the main thing, obviously, is student achievement. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Warnock to talk about some more stellar programs in CFB. Dr. Warnock.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. This year, we've been focusing on all of the choices that we have available to our students and families in CFB. We believe that we should choose public school, that we should choose CFB because of the many, many options that we have. We offer over 36 different certificates and licensures and continue to explore ways that we can prepare our students so that they are college ready, career ready, and life ready. So we welcome tonight to the podium Joe Gillen, our Executive Director for Career Technical Education and Counseling, to share with us about 3 of our special programs here in CFB. Ms. Gillen.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Burns and esteemed members of the board. As we continuously work to meet our district goal of high achievement for each student, we are committed to preparing our students for a post-secondary success in the workplace. We have over 5,200 students in our CTE courses and 36 certifications. Our Career and Technical Education Department works to equip our students with advanced skills and workforce opportunities. In CFB, we truly are a collaboration of the community colleges, business and industry, and the school district. Tonight, we are going to spotlight 3 of our programs offering certification opportunities in the district: Culinary Arts, Auto Tech, and BioMed. Now let's watch the 3 programs in action as they are featured in the following video.
Coming here, it just opened my mind up to other things and made me work harder for what I want to do in life.
The more you do that, the happier you'll be working the job that you have. And if you're not happy doing that, then there's no point.
They have provided us the materials that we need in order to gain our certifications, as well as professionals that have experience with these things, and they can share their experiences with us.
mom, ever since I was like a little kid, like grew up in a cooking family. My auntie cooked, my dad cooks, uncles cook. And so watching them cook when I was younger, it was like, okay, I want to do that one day.
The passion came from me working on cars with my dad. It's nice knowing that I'm doing something that we both enjoy.
When BioMed was presented to me, one of the big selling points were the certifications, and it definitely got me the most interested in the BioMed program.
You can actually earn double the amount of work than a non-certified person that is just coming into that workforce.
It gives you that boost, like they're more likely to hire you. People think it's just cooking, but you also have to learn how to work with people. In this kitchen, like it's a commercial kitchen, so you're working with other students in the restaurant business.
You're learning how to interact with a patient, which is a very important part of medicine, especially in the kind of medicine I want to go to as an oncologist. You are learning how to talk to people, how to make sure that they feel safe.
Knowing that other people are getting their vehicles fixed and that they're happy with it being fixed makes me feel good about what I do.
You have more opportunities. They're getting you ready to go out in that field. Like they're not babying you, like it's hands-on learning.
This program has also kind of prepared me academically in a way for college, having to do with self-study, how to learn on our own pace, how to keep tabs on ourselves, just something very important that's going to come later in life.
As our three students articulated, benefits abound in our CFB certification programs: real work environment, hands-on activities, and collaborative learning. Research has shown that 81% of students that do not complete high school say that relevant, real-world learning opportunities would have kept them in school. With that said, it is apparent with the district graduation rate of 94.3% that we are preparing our students for workforce readiness. Within these three programs, there are several certifications we would like to highlight tonight. Students in culinary arts are able to earn the Serve Safe Food Handler certification. Cafe Smith is a nonprofit, student-run restaurant with an adjoining commercial kitchen where students prepare and serve meals. The kitchen is inspected twice a year by the Carrollton Health Department and is listed on their website along with other restaurants in the community. The culinary arts students will host 43 events this year. Our auto tech programs are accredited through the National Automotive Technicians Education Foundation, NATEF. Both Creekview and R.L. Turner have met the rigorous reviews and standards to provide 9 certifications. ASE certifications equate to 1 year of work experience when qualifying for the Master of ASE certification. Our programs meet the same standards as those of community colleges and technical centers. The impact of this program reaches beyond our school walls and into the community. Recently, we received an email from a husband and wife who graduated from the Auto Tech program at Turner in 2004. They now own Addison Automotive, an 8-bay, fully functional shop. 2 of their 3 employed technicians graduated from our program. We are also quite fortunate that Sam Pack, 5-Star Ford, another partner in the community, has employed a number of our graduates. Currently, 32% of their staff of technicians are former CFB students. Within the BioMed Academy, there are 6 certifications that students earn. Certified Nurse Assistant, that's a CNA, a Pharmacy Tech, a Phlebotomy Tech, Emergency Medical Technician, EMT, EKG Technician, and Patient Care Technician. This year, as a result of receiving a grant, we were able to add a registered nurse as a health science teacher and add 2 courses, hospital rotations and phlebotomy. Our biomed opportunities continue to grow. This summer, we will have our first group of students eligible to take an EKG course in collaboration with Brookhaven College. Those students will become certified and then ultimately take a test to become patient care technician certified. While researching these opportunities for our students, we found that hospitals are hiring patient care techs with high earning potential. It is now my pleasure to introduce Charles Heath, the CEO of Metro Crest Hospital Authority. He is here tonight to expound upon the value these certifications hold for our graduates as they begin their careers in our community. Charles?
Thanks, Joe. It's back in the early 90s when the Hospital Authority provided some money for the BioMedical Academy. None of us had any idea what was going to happen in healthcare. If we'd been able to predict that, we would have all been multimillionaires at this point in time. But since I'm still working at my age, you see that didn't quite happen. But we're very fortunate that we have a program like this that we can seek people to come to work in our hospitals. There is such a critical need today, and there is such a critical shortness of these people that are trained, either certified nurses or either the physician assistants. I mean, you can just go down the list of all the people that we still need that are not there available for us. And it's not only in hospitals, but it's also in skilled nursing facilities, assisted living centers, and we now even see where patients retain the services of CNAs and also PCTs just so they can get better care in the hospital. It's a great opportunity, as Joe was saying, that when these students can graduate from high school and earn in excess of $30,000 a year, 18, 19 years old, but most important, they can still go and get additional training and can actually do more in the healthcare industry. Since I got the floor up here, I want to make a little brag on CFB. As you know, we provided some funding for a telehealth program in 3 of the elementary schools and 1 of the middle schools, and also behavioral health in all the high schools. Carrollton-Farmers branch is the only school district in Dallas County that has the behavioral health group. No one else has gotten that far yet. They said that CFB was the easiest school district to work with, and their counselors could understand the need for having those services. So great leadership. We appreciate that. And Joe, thank you for everything that you do to help us get employees for our hospitals. Thank you.
You've had the opportunity to see 3 of our programs this evening. We would like to end the presentation with a video showcasing our students, our teachers, and our facilities to celebrate all of our diverse programs.
You thrive on creativity. You dare to break the mold. You know that challenges refine and develop your skills. And you wake up every morning ready to pursue your passion. Now, pursue those passions in a world of opportunity. Engineer the future at METSA and design the next big thing. From aeroscience to race cars, you'll learn the complex technology that moves society forward. Build circuits, explore electronics, or code an app. METSA is where innovation lives. The Academy of Biomedical Professions is preparing future healthcare professionals through hands-on experience. Become a certified nursing assistant, pharmacy tech, or emergency medical technician through real-life experience in the field. Enter the Shark Tank of the International Business Academy. You'll travel the world and see business in action, learning the skills that move economies and bring ideas to life. The average IBA student graduates with more than 18 hours of college credit. The Academy of Media Arts and Technology. AMAT is the place to explore your creativity as a filmmaker, photographer, or graphic artist. Earn industry certifications and create your own films. Then, learn crucial principles like color theory, composition, design, and leave with a professional portfolio ready for the media industry. Win over the jury in the Law and Criminal Justice Academy. Participate in mock trials, sharpen your speaking skills, and delve into the American legal system. Here is where a crime scene becomes a classroom and where you'll put law into practice. Care for your own animal at the Agriculture Barn and acquire the skills to enter a career in animal science, wildlife management, or environmentalism. Get to work under the hood. Learn about automotive technology and collision and repair from master technicians. Drive right into a job in the auto industry. Cosmetology, the place to learn new techniques and styling. Clock hours in the salon and earn your license in the process. Put your culinary skills to the test and prepare 5-star meals while learning what it takes to become a restaurateur. Fashion design will give you the opportunity to put your imagination to work. Create the trends we'll all be wearing. IB is advanced learning designed to help develop the intellectual, personal, emotional, and social skills to live, learn, and work in a rapidly globalizing world. Information technology is today's fastest growing field. Here, you'll develop coding and computer programming skills to be a part of it all. Marketing. Learn what drives your favorite brands. Advance your skills in business management, finance, and product development to bring your ideas to life. Join STEM and collaborate in teams, utilizing the latest technology to design, test, and produce models of your ideas. Spark the torch and experience the craft of welding and earn AWS certification. Business practicums and internships. Get right to work in real-world positions and network your way through business and your future career. Earn a 2-year degree on a real college campus. Early College High School is the no-cost way to earn a high school and college degree at the same time. Follow your passion in a program created just for you. Learn more about all the CFB academies and pathways at cfbcte.com.
I would be remiss tonight not to mention Mr. James Good's name because career and technical education was near and dear to his heart, and I know he is listening and watching tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Gillen. I'd like to ask the members of our CTE team who are here in the audience, I see several of our teachers and staff, if you'll just stand so we can thank you for the amazing work that you do in our classrooms every day. Thank you. We want to encourage everyone to make a reservation at Cafe Smith. Schedule your automotive needs at R.L. Turner. You can get a manicure or a haircut. So we have lots of opportunities and ways we serve the community and build those real world experiences for kids, which is another reason why we choose public, we choose CFB. That concludes our report. We're happy to answer any questions.
Board members, do you have any questions, comments? Mr. Shackman.
Question, but a comment. And having kids that got the experience in METSA and some of these programs, I cannot say enough the quality that these programs are producing across the board. We've gotten to eat at Cafe Smith some, and it always astounds me that the level of professionalism and the quality of the training and what the students are doing is at the level that it is, and it is a tribute to our staff and a tribute to the students who are committing themselves to this kind of education, and it is, I'm really proud of what we're doing in CTE.
Thank you.
I can speak firsthand on some of that stuff. My times at Turner and Creekview, the auto tech programs in both of those schools saved me thousands upon thousands of dollars in my lifetime. And the auto body department at Turner, I had an old Chevrolet pickup. They painted it, and I guarantee it looked like it rolled off the showroom floor. It was incredible. In fact, Mr. Gandy, who has a picture of my truck in his office because they did such a great job. But anyway, that was great. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this weekend, the mock trial team from Creekview is again one of the state finalists in mock trial this weekend. So
You are
we wish
correct.
them luck. I mean, they're there every year. And then they go to nationals. And it's incredible. We have some good things going on in this district, folks. I mean, oh well. Okay, my next agenda item is item number 3, recognition of special guest, Dr. Burns.
Thank you, President Matthews, members of the board, and to our audience. You know, we know the secret for a great program starts with great people. We know that our staff makes it happen for our students, and so tonight's recognition is about recognizing some members from our campuses who have been nominated and selected to be a very important professional in our district. We call it the Hall of Fame, okay, the Hall of Fame of teaching. And so we're going to honor those people tonight, and we always say this, we can't thank you enough, but it doesn't mean we don't try, okay? So thank an educator, thank them for the hard work that they do every day, but we have some special thanks for our VIPs tonight. We also have a bag for you underneath with some of that gratitude written for you. There's nothing like a power of a handwritten note to express people's gratitude and appreciation for you. So we're honored to recognize you tonight as the newest member of the very important profession of teaching. And we would invite the guests here to help celebrate this with you to stand when your VIP is introduced to honor them and to recognize and appreciate their contribution to this district. With that, Mr. Matthews, will you join me in the front to recognize our newest members of the VIP Club?
Dr. Burns, members of the board, I am Lance Hamlin, the principal at Blaylock Middle School. We are here tonight to introduce you to our newest member in the very important profession of teaching, Miss Leslie Howell. Ms. Howell spent her first 8 years of her career teaching special education in Alvin and Plano ISD. In 2013, she made the best decision of her professional career by joining the Blaylock family as a counselor. Things to know about Leslie. She is an old-school dumpster diver. If you leave trash outside and it has 4 legs, she's going to pick it up. She's always looking for that hidden treasure. She loves food. She enjoys dancing. Did I mention she loves food? She likes to run. She has an amazing relationship with her mother, who's here with us tonight. And she is strong in her faith. Her faith truly defines her. When I asked students and parents to tell me something about their counselor, they responded, "Ms. Howell really takes the time to hear us out. When I need to talk to someone, she's always there." One parent commented, "I know with Ms. Howell, my child has a safe place to go." The staff at Blaylock expressed the following thoughts about Leslie. "You are a calming presence and a great advisor. Just listening to you calms me down." This teacher was actually outside her office when she was dealing with a student, and she was calming the student down, which also calmed the teacher down. So the teacher just went back to her room. You don't just help one, you help all. By following your calling, you are making our world a better place, one person at a time. You are student-centered. You have an underrated sense of humor. I don't even joke with her anymore because she shuts me down so fast. And I just walk off. You give great attention to detail. You're kind, you're helpful, and you are a dance animal. So apparently somebody agrees with you, so she can dance. You're an amazing, enthusiastic, and helpful. You're always smiling. You have been a great mentor to me during my first year of teaching. Everything you do with a smile. Your commitment to and your love for our students and staff and everyone you meet is infectious. Every time I ask for help, you respond with a smile. Your door is always open to offer comfort and support with a friendly smile. If you've noticed, there's a pattern here. She's always smiling and eating. As the principal of Blaylock Middle School, I am grateful for you for all you do with our students and staff on a daily basis. You definitely make Blaylock a better place for all. Your dedication to CFB continues to change the lives of our students and staff. Blaylock Middle School and CFB are indeed fortunate to have Ms. Howell as a member of the very important profession of teaching.
Good evening, Mr. Matthews, Dr. Burns, and the member of the board. My name is Monica Cohen, and I am the proud principal of Carrollton Elementary. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our newest member of the very important profession of teaching, Miss Susan James. If you have had the pleasure of visiting Carrollton Elementary this year, you have been blessed to see a school filled with superheroes. You may not have noticed these superheroes immediately when you enter the school, since they do not wear their capes on a daily basis, but they are there in the classroom teaching our students every day. If you look up the definition of the word, a superhero is a fictional character with superhuman powers. It is evident that Miss Susan James is not a fictional character. She's standing there right in front of you. But she definitely displays superhuman powers and touches the lives of our children at Carrollton Elementary every day. How is that possible, you may ask? One of the defining characteristics of superheroes is that they are selfless. They sacrifice many things for the benefit of those around them. Susan James is no exception. Some of your fabulous coworkers said it best. Miss James beautifies the school with the kids' artwork. It magically appears on Monday because she works all weekend to get it done. Take a look around our school during any season of the year, and you will see engaging artwork created by our students, facilitated by Carrollton Elementary's Susan James. Susan puts in extra time planning her lessons to making sure that the artwork of every student is on display at the school. Every Wednesday after school, she hosts Art Club, where those students are able to take their newly created masterpiece home. Miss Susan James always goes above and beyond for Carrollton Elementary. Often I leave campus on a Friday evening and return Monday morning to an extraordinary display of our students' artwork filling the halls. Miss James, we see you spend countless hours displaying student work, hanging it up, taking it down, and doing it all over again. We know it takes time and energy to do what others may think is a way of decorating the hallways. You won't see all the moments when a student attends a music program, a parent-teacher conference, or another activity at school and is ecstatic and proud to show off their work. They may not ever tell you, but know that your students are excited you are celebrating their hard work, their own hard work, by sharing it with everyone. Superheroes are able to take everyday situations and turn them into amazing opportunities. Miss James is the teacher to 21 different classes, which accounts to over 500 students. That's 21 different groups of students with different group dynamics and different levels of understanding and ability. Not to mention she teaches 6 different grade levels. You challenge students to embrace failure and utilize mistakes as springboards for growth. When students walk into your classroom, they are welcomed to a place where children know that it's safe to make a mistake and have it celebrated. Your classroom culture is one where incorrectness and error are simply part of the human experience. You have high expectations for learning, you challenge students to take risks, and you value the journey more than the destination. I challenged Miss James this year to organize our annual Gingerbread House event. This was not a task for the week. Every student decorated their own gingerbread house in one day. Let me put that in perspective for you. That's over 500 gingerbread houses made in one day. When I asked for her help in planning, she said yes without hesitation. I'm unsure she exactly knew what she was getting into, But she did not complain. The event was a huge success and many memories were made. Thank you, Susan. Superheroes have many superpowers. Susan James is more than just an educator. She is a counselor, an advocate, and a cheerleader for her students. When we actually take a moment and look around at the world, it tends to be empty of real-life heroes and role models who provide examples for the rest of us to follow. There are so few people who are selfless and humble and who lead more by example than by words, especially those who you can point out and proudly tell your children, that's someone you want to be like when you grow up. She helps students find their passion by acknowledging their strengths, honoring their weaknesses, and inviting them to grow. Every student that walks into her room starts their day reading the following poem. I am an artist. I am bursting with creativity. I am open and I am ready to learn. I am excited to try new things. I am filled with fantastic ideas. I am always doing the best I can. I am unique and I am special. I am awesome. I am loved. I am. Miss James, you are loved. I want to thank you for sharing your passion with us. Congratulations, and thank you for being a superhero to our students.
President Matthews, members of the board, Dr. Burns, and colleagues. My name is Stephanie Jimenez, and I have the pleasure of serving as the principal of Vivian Field Middle School. It is my great privilege to introduce Ms. Taylor Rempt, our avid teacher, social emotional learning lead, campus testing coordinator, and co-cheerleading coach, to be recognized as Vivian Field's next member of the very important profession of teaching. The title of our nomination is #TaylorKnows. Many of you may recognize this symbol as a tic-tac-toe board or the pound sign, but today many people recognize it as the hashtag. A decade ago, the hashtag reshaped the internet by organizing masses of information into relatable categories. If there is one thing that our Vivian Field staff can relate to, it's the fact that if you need help, if you need a boost of positivity, and if you need an answer about anything, #TaylorKnows. Also about a decade ago, a high school drill team girl at Shawnee Mission East in Prairie Village, Kansas, was being prepared to reshape Vivian Field by having those exact two qualities. Taylor is relatable and super organized. Hence, she gets her own hashtag, #TaylorKnows. #TaylorKnows family. She has never been without the support of her mom, Shelley, her dad, Mike, her brother, Elliot, until she took a phone interview with some folks at Vivian Field to be a math teacher in Texas. We could sense Taylor's with-itness, and 3 weeks later, she moved to Texas. It's been 5 years since she moved away from her family and her hometown. The Rempts are a close-knit family, all KU Jayhawks through and through, and although she would be far from home, they supported her new adventure. #TaylorKnowsCourage. #TaylorKnows work ethic. After just 1 year of teaching, we all knew Taylor was a natural leader, and we kept hinting that she should pursue her administrative degree. Well, she did. She finished in record time and just last week passed her certification test. Taylor has volunteered for every committee, coaching job, and calendar appointment sent her way, and she autographs everything that she does with excellence. Her love for continuing the work that we have begun at Vivian Field has never wavered, and although poked and prodded, she refuses to leave the classroom at this time. #TaylorKnowsCommitment. #TaylorKnows her kids. One of her students said, "Whenever I hear the name Miss Rempt, I automatically think of the hardest working person in our building. But then I also think of a person who is willing to listen to your problems, give you the best advice. Miss Rempt is a role model. She is a great example that shows all the Viking character traits. Her colleagues say the same. Sasha Marrier says, Taylor is the reason why I can even coach in the first place. As my co-cheer coach, Taylor makes everything easy. She gets the ball moving and initiates without needing reminders. She simply gets the job done. She's made so much of an impact that she was the inspiration behind our youngest daughter's middle name. Hashtag Taylor knows people in such a way that she is adored by those who know her, and she is even liked by the meanest of strangers and dogs. Hashtag Taylor knows hard work because she stays after many hours to volunteer and help the administrative team, so she is knowledgeable about our campus plan, initiatives, and students. She always treats people with kindness and respect, regardless of the number of times they have asked the same question. It seems Taylor is involved with and knows just about everything that happens at the Viv Nation. But there's one thing she does not know, and that's the fact that our staff loves her so much that we flew her dad in to see her, his oldest child and only daughter, receive this prestigious honor of being a member of the very important profession of teaching.
No, that's mine. Well, that was wonderful. That's a hard act to follow. But I do have something good to follow it with, so you just wait. Good evening, President Matthews, Dr. Burns, and members of the school board. My name is Debbie Williams, principal of Kent Elementary. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce and honor Kim McAnally as a very important profession of teaching. Miss McAnally is very creative and is known for writing original songs to help kids learn and for special occasions. The staff only thought it fitting that we have a song for her. Kim, this is a gift for you. Well, I'm not sure you're going to think it's a gift, but we'll see. I'll let you do it.
Teacher that we all love. She is always going over and above. All through her classroom, across our school. She's singing songs and making learning super cool. She's got inspiration in her heart. She's got helping on her mind. She teaches kids to read and stop and think. Ooh, she just can't help from making teaching fun and special. See, she's on top, she can't rock it, she can't stop. And in her class, where everyone knows,
We had more fun making that video. We thought you would never leave because we filmed that in her classroom. So, so we had a great time. We sorry you weren't there, but anyway, Kent Elementary is proud to recognize Kim McAnally to the very important profession of teaching.
Oh, it's never fun to go last. Wow. Okay. Good evening. My name is Dreama Mayfield, and I'm the principal at La Vita Elementary. And I'm here tonight, along with many La Vita Leopards, to recognize Lisa Capps as a member of the very important profession of teaching. Miss Capps' family is joining her tonight. Her husband, Calvin, who is a member of the Blaylock staff, and their sweet, sweet little boy, Colin, is here, along with her brother and sister-in-law tonight. So we're excited to have them. Well, Lisa has many friends here tonight, especially those who are Harry Potter fans. Lisa is a devoted Potterhead, and her classroom reflects her enthusiasm for the famous Harry Potter. As the headmaster says, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Well, Miss Capps, you may not have received your Hogwarts letter, but I think I could fulfill your dream. For those of you that don't know, the Hogwarts School has a sorting hat that splits the newest students into their houses according to their character. Well, I just so happen to have a sorting hat. From Miss Capps. Yes, we want you to put on that sorting hat. Oh, wow. Very, very difficult. Maybe a Hufflepuff, Miss Capps? As a Hufflepuff, you are loyal to your teammates, hardworking, and very kind to everyone in the building. You are friendly and humble, as you never brag or talk about your accomplishments. However, organizing the trip to Austin for our fourth graders takes skill, determination, and it's always a huge success. You are eager to take on different tasks, whether it's serving on our PTA board, coaching the math team, or helping a fellow colleague. Taking on all of those extra tasks might make you a Slytherin. Oh, do not fear. As a Slytherin, you are a team leader that makes sure the newest team members are comfortable, have everything they need, and you answer all their questions. Your skills, your compassion, and your work ethic make you a strong leader. A Slytherin is resourceful. You may not have all the answers, but you know how to use what you have. Oh, there is no doubt you are Slytherin. No? You are quite brave telling me no. Gryffindors are brave too. I can see that you're courageous. You are not afraid to do what needs to be done, taking on those enjoyable but sometimes terrifying fourth graders. Oh, and you're teaching math to 3 different classrooms. You are the GT math teacher for our pilot program, and this doesn't scare you? Oh, no, no. Because you are so creative and smart. You're just like a Ravenclaw. A Ravenclaw is intelligent, but very unpredictable and creative with their spell work. You may not cast spells, but your wit, your sense of humor, your laughter, and your smile is enjoyed and appreciated by all. Oh, Miss Capps, you make this way too difficult for me. That sorting hat can't decide. I can't place you in any of the houses because you really have characteristics for all of the houses. Well, Miss Capps, it truly doesn't matter which house I choose for you because you have already decided you belong to Gryffindor. No, I know it. Gryffindors are known for their bravery, their determination. Gryffindors are the ones who will stand up to do the right thing no matter what. And a Gryffindor is a friend for life. When I ask your students about you, yeah, the first thing they said was, Miss Capps loves Harry Potter. And we belong to the Gryffindor house. You start them early, don't you? Yeah, I thought so. They talked about earning house points in the classroom and that lanyard that you wear with all the Harry Potter houses. And you know those Harry Potter pajamas that you wore on pajama day? Yeah, they talked about that. They said you're intelligent, you're awesome at math, you're strict, you're serious, but you're lovable. They also said, one student added, she really explains math, so I fully understand. She inspires me to do my best, and she puts up funny pictures during a math test to motivate and encourage us. Now, I love math. The last student added, Miss Capps is a good mom. And I said, well, tell me more. And he said, Miss Capps is a good mom because she stayed home with Colin the last 2 days to take care of him when he was sick. Lisa, your dedication to our students and staff is undeniable. You are an exceptional teacher, an amazing mom, and an excellent baker because we all like those goodies that you bake for us. We are so proud to recognize you as a member of a very important profession of teaching.
President Matthews, members of the board, that concludes our wonderful VIP recognitions for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. At this time, I get to say a few words, so I enjoyed doing that. First of all, I want to thank Joe and Steve Ann and the CTE department. Y'all are incredible. Our whole department's incredible. And to you ladies here tonight, Dr. Hamlin, expanded on how much you like to eat. I need to know what that is so I can start doing it too. Huh? Because I like to eat a lot too, but yours is showing differently than. Anyway, and I think this might be the first VIP celebration we had where I teared up right here. That was special. Thank you, sir, for being here. And the Kent thing, You know, it was very well done. I don't think I recognize any professional singers or dancers in it, but it was very well done and you know, a great production. So congratulations there. And Dreama, I'm sorry that I'm not too familiar with all that Harry Potter stuff. I didn't read it, but it was. I'm sure it was good, and you're very well done. Okay. But anyway, seriously though, ladies, we have a whole lot of teachers in this school district, as you know, over 3,000, and we only have this maybe 7 times a year. So to be picked to be involved with this VIP program, that's a major deal, folks, and you should be proud. And you know, your principals didn't just draw a name out of a hat. You earned the right to be here tonight. So congratulations. You are the cream of the crop. You are why we are a good school district. So thank you. All right. Our next agenda item, Dr. Burns, what do you got for the board is district announcements.
Yes, President Matthews, member of the board. So we do have some announcements we'd like to share, and I'm going to turn that over to Miss Angela Shelley Brown.
Thank you, Dr. Burns and members of the board. I would like to give you an update on some activities happening around CFB. The district will be closed for spring break March 12th through the 16th. Everyone cheer for that, right? I know we're ready. Casey's Run is scheduled for March 24th at 8:30 a.m. At Standard Stadium at 8 a.m. At Standard Stadium. Visit caseysrun.com for more information or to register. Everyone come run or walk with us at Casey's Run. On Thursday, March 29th, the 18th annual CFB Special Olympics track and field meet will be held at Standard Stadium beginning at 9:45 a.m. Our next school board meeting is Thursday, April the 5th, here in the boardroom at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, April the 18th, the CFBISD 2018 Partner Recognition Luncheon will be held at 11:30 a.m. at the Marriott Courtyard in Carrollton. We honor all of our amazing business partners for their commitment to CFB during this luncheon. We had several of them, like Charles Heath, that we will be honoring. A board work study is scheduled for Thursday, April the 19th at 6 p.m. The location of the work study has yet to be determined. Actually, it is at Newman Smith High School. We just determined that. When I wrote this, it hadn't been. It is the season for senior activities in CFB, and the second semester is marching on quickly. So here are a few of our senior activities coming up. On Tuesday, April the 24th, the R.L. Turner High School Senior Honors Breakfast will be held beginning at 8 a.m. in the R.L. Turner cafeteria. On Wednesday, April the 25th, beginning at 8:15, the Rancho High School will host their Seniors Honors Breakfast in the cafeteria. On Thursday, April the 26th, the Creekview High School Senior Honors Breakfast will begin at 8:30 in their cafeteria. And on Friday, April the 27th, beginning at 7:30 a.m., the Newman Smith High School Senior Honors Breakfast will be held in their cafeteria. That will be a week of fun. And that starts our senior activities. I would now like to invite Delia Gonzalez, the third VIP of Programs and Family Engagement, to share about our PTAs.
Good evening. My name is Delia Gonzalez, and I serve as the VP of Programs and Family Engagement at Carrollton-Farmers Branch Council PTA. I would like to update you as to the efforts of Council PTA over the last few months. We had 3 campuses win the Texas PTA Welcome Back Membership Award by submitting 10 new PTA memberships in January. Council PTA reinstated our Piece of Cake Award, which is an incentive where PTAs complete a list of tasks to earn a celebratory cake provided by Council PTA for the local campus to share with their board, staff, and PTA members. There was an early bird part of the competition, and those campuses that completed half the task by December 31st celebrated with a dinner at Standridge Stadium Press Box with Dr. Burns. 7 schools won the early bird award: Rainwater Elementary, Good Elementary, Country Place Elementary, Ranch View High School, Turner High School, Blaylock Middle School, and Field Middle School. Great job to all of our campuses on ensuring their PTA tasks are complete. Council PTA, recognized our Reflections winners on January 24th. Thank you to those that attended to help celebrate these students. Of the 177 entries submitted to Council PTA from our local campuses, we recognized 112 participants at our ceremony, and we're pleased to advance 21 of those entries to Texas PTA for the state competition. We are still waiting those results and really are looking forward to having them any day now. We are so proud of the artist talent of our Carrollton-Farmers branch students, and thank to all those who have participated. As part of our Healthy Lifestyles initiatives, Council PTA is organizing a district-wide walkathon on April 4th as part of the Move More in April campaign. Each school in the district is encouraged to walk for 15 minutes to highlight the importance of healthy habits among our students. The parent education presentations this year have been informative and successful. We look forward to continuing our partnership with the district in organizing them. We are seeking input from parents and staff members through a survey so we can assist in planning the 2018-2019 parent education programs. Our advocacy efforts continue with Council PTA providing members and staff nonpartisan information regarding the Texas primary elections. We compiled information about the primary election process as well as candidate information as a way to help inform voters while encouraging all to participate in the process. Remember, Election Day is March the 6th, and we encourage everyone to make their voice heard by voting. In advance of the local elections in May, Council PTA and AAUW will host the Carrollton-Farmers Branch School Board Candidate Forum on April 23rd at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom. This is open to everyone, and we hope that the community will attend to hear from all the school board candidates. We continue with our hashtag, CFB Matters to Me. It's exciting to see all the posts on social media, and we have seen some great stories and pictures. We thank everyone for participating and spreading the word about CFB by sharing their positive stories. For March, the theme is luck. We encourage you to share a story or a picture indicating why do you feel lucky to be part of Carrollton-Farmers Branch, along with the hashtag CFB Matters to Me. Based on feedback from the Reflections Award ceremony, where we combined a Council PTA meeting and the Reflections program, the Council PTA Board has approved some changes to our meetings for the remainder of the year. We will combine a regular meeting with our Life Member ceremony on April 17th at 6:30 p.m. at Perry Middle School. We will honor all those receiving a Texas PTA Life Member Award, as well as hold our Council PTA elections. Everyone is invited, and we hope to see you there. Remember to engage with our local PTAs on Facebook or other social media platforms to see more about the events and activities at all of our campuses to help meet our mutual goal of high achievement of each student. Thank you again for your continued support of PTA. Thank you.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Jeff Moore, the Executive Director of the Educational Foundation, to make a presentation.
Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, and members of the board, thank y'all for having me tonight. And what a wonderful night. I'm really excited to make an announcement tonight about the VIP program that you have here, and those were some amazing stories. But I wanted to let everyone know, just to let you know, our mission is to enrich the educational opportunities here in CFB. That's our mission statement, and we're trying to get within the walls of the schools and really make an impact there. And today, each of the VIPs, I don't know how you want to do this, Angela, but here, I'll pass these. Let me hold on to one of them. Each of the VIPs, and retroactively, all the VIPs who have been here before will receive a small affirmation from the foundation of $100 to use in your classroom or however you and your principal see fit. I followed... And all the future VIPs will receive that as well. I followed Dr. Burns' lead with some handwritten notes. I didn't even get that memo. We are a fan of all of you. And we even have a superhero pin to follow some of the superhero theme for each VIP. So thanks to each of you, and perhaps at halftime here in a minute, we can get these to you, or maybe you'll take a picture with me in the hall after we break. So thank you for all your great work. A couple of other things I wanted to announce. On Tuesday, we have a Drive for Your Community program. It's going to be hosted over at Ranch View High School. And if you can sign up, go to our website, cfbgiving.org, and you can sign up to pick yourself out a drive time. It's going to be between 10:30 and 7. So come out, and SAMPAC sponsors that. We have the opportunity to raise up to $8,000 that day. And this year we're splitting that money with Ranch View High School to use for some of their programs. And then the other half comes to the foundation too. maybe fund VIPs and do some other things. Real quickly, we have a program we started for the 2015-16 school year. We started it, it's called Impact Now, and some of you may have heard of it. And I wanted to tell a little bit about that. It's just a program. We have 7 impact areas, and I have to bring notes because I always leave one of them out. There's 7. They're fine arts, science and technology, athletics, workforce readiness, we saw some video on that earlier, leadership development, special education, and student support. And if you don't know, all you have, if you go to cfbgiving.org and select the Impact Now button, you can apply for a grant on behalf of a student. And those funds can be used to help support that student for maybe if they have a financial need or something like that. An example that we see a lot is in fine arts. Maybe we help rent instruments, we help with private voice lessons, but we also do things in those other impact areas. So if you have students or if you'd like to support that, talk to me. But I wanted to let you know that we started that in 2015-16, and we tallied up some numbers today that since then, we have impacted 604 students through that program. We've utilized and funded $31,716.41 for those 604 students, and that's $52 a student. That's pretty good, being a pretty good steward of those dollars, making them go a long way. And we are excited that the Creekview High School moot court is going to Duke University in March, and we're helping support that, and that's a great program. So all these, that's the most recent one we've funded. And then the last thing, and some of you might have seen this poster, come to your schools. I think every elementary school should have received a few, and I know every middle school did. So hang these up if you are a principal or leader in your school and want to get these up. It's for our summer STEM camp. And I heard a lot about STEM today in some of these videos. We bring 3 companies, Citi, LBJ, and Siemens. They are coming to, a different company comes on each day, and they teach I guess they kind of use their, they implement their I'm losing myself. Yeah, hands-on activities for students to show how those, their corporate skill sets are applicable, and teach middle school students how they can train and learn about a job that they haven't had the opportunity to learn about yet. So we hope you'll promote that. We're hoping for 200 kids this year. It's going to be over at Barbara Bush, and I thank you for your time. Thanks.
That concludes our report, Dr. Burns.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Sure. A little known fact about Jeff, by the way, he's outstanding as our director, but he was a 7-foot high jumper at A&M. That's incredible. That's a long time ago, but still, that's back when 7 feet was a major deal. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to remind you that the board encourages comments from citizens of the district and from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so during agenda item number 5, audience for guests. Please submit your request to do so on one of the forms provided out on the table just outside the door. You can place them on that table, or you can give them to Sharon Scrivener right over there. When the board addresses item 5, agenda 5, audience for guests, you will be invited to the podium to speak to the board. Now then, we would like for every one of you to spend the rest of the evening with us. We're fixing to take a recess for about 10 minutes. I know that maybe 2 or 3 of you have something you guess you got to do tonight. Tomorrow's a work day for some of you, and you go to bed early. But, we'd love for all of you to hang around. But we're going to recess now at 10 after 8. We'll be back at 8:20. This meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District Board of Trustees is called back to order. The next item on the agenda is audience for guests. And before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling audience for guests. Anyone who wants to speak during audience for guests must sign in and list the topic they want to discuss. Each speaker will be allowed to speak once during the audience for guests. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board, and the audience for guests portion of the meeting will be no more than 30 minutes total as dictated by board policy BED local. If during that time the board is not able to hear from everyone who has signed up, those who did not have an opportunity to speak will be invited to speak up during our audience for guests at the next regularly scheduled board meeting in April. Because the board wants to hear from as many of you as possible while also keeping the meeting running efficiently, groups of more than 5 people who want to present a particular viewpoint on a topic should appoint one person to speak on behalf of their group. Again, that speaker's presentation will be limited to 3 minutes. If you speak during audience for guests, either individually on behalf of a group, please remember that the board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda for this evening. And last, we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own child. Also, specific complaints should be addressed through the district's grievance process, not in audience for guests. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints. And policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or in the central administration office. Timekeeper, Ms. Klein, please start the 30 minutes now. Please also time each speaker for 3 minutes. Speakers, the timekeeper will let you know when you have 1 minute left. Ms. Scrivener, do we have any audience for guests this evening? Okay. When I call your name, come to the podium, state your name and address. First up will be Ms. Shirley Tarpley.
Trustee and Superintendent, I am Shirley Tarpley of 1507 Milam Way in Carrollton. I am here to speak in favor of term limitations for trustees. I was one of 4 city council members that voted for term limitations for the city of Carrollton. And the citizens of Carrollton approved by over 75%. Just as the resident of Carrollton and Farmers Branch spoke to the board in favor of term limitations, and the trustees have ignored the citizens that spoke. I have listened month after month in our trustees' debate, the same that was said prior to the late 80s by the Carrollton City Council members that had served for over 16 years on the council. It is the best thing that happened to Carrollton. New ideas and new ideas are introduced at every new term. The same will happen for our school board when term limitations are instituted. If memory serves me correctly, but I'm 76 and I'm old now, only 2 people that I remember have volunteered to not want to run for more time, and that is Ms. Lynn Chafin and now Trustee Flemings. Like City Council long ago, the others just wanted to stay forever. They must not have a life. Even the President of the United States have term limitations.
1 minute left.
My belief is that every elected official should have term limitations. Also, I believe term limitations will stop the trustees for approving for a long time half of the salaries of former positions to administrative staff members for part-time help after they retire. I believe that some help might be needed, but not over a year. If it's over a year, you done hired the wrong person. The practice should stop immediately. And I thank you for your time and attention.
Next up, Mr. Nick Rady.
All right, as you mentioned, my name is Nick Rady, live in Farmers Branch. I've come to speak to you today to bring to your attention an issue that affects every teacher and student in the district. As we all know, with recent changes to our national tax code, a tool used by many teachers, the school supply deduction, was eliminated. Everyone on this board has said publicly our teachers were underpaid as compared to the surrounding districts. To combat this, we as a community passed a $21 million TRE to alleviate this discrepancy. We are now one of the top paid districts in the area. Part of the extra funding was an allocation of about $7 million to complete a 3-year program to achieve a 1-to-1 student-to-computer ratio. A partial rationale to do this over the more economical 4 or 5-to-1 ratio using shared computer system was due to the students in our district that may not be able to afford a personal computing device, thus allowing all students, including the some 65% on free and reduced lunch, to have access to technology and the internet during the school day. However, back to the teachers and that tax deduction, and those same students that now have a Chromebook in the classroom that otherwise may not have as much exposure to computers. These are the same people that are hit hardest by having to supply the school with basic classroom necessities. I encourage you as a board to look at allocating, starting this upcoming year as a standard budget line item, a small portion of that now freed up funds from the computer program to double the amount of that tax deduction for every classroom in the district. Doing so would effectively eliminate every teacher and student from having to bring things like tissue paper, Ziploc baggies, glue sticks, and sticky notes, all known as basic office supplies for any good organization that would provide as a basic baseline operating cost. I know that it is hard to stand out by deviating from common educational practices. However, sometimes it is important to take a stance that makes you stick out from the pack. If allocating about $500,000 a year towards a policy that alleviates a struggling parent from finding that correct size Ziploc baggie at the dollar store, or a teacher hoping that she can get one more period out of that fading permanent or whiteboard marker, then we would stand out as a district that goes the extra distance for our teachers and our students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We will proceed now to our next agenda item, which is number 6, consent agenda. The consent agenda is a mechanism that the board uses to approve a number of routine items together with a single vote. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the public notice for this meeting includes the list of all consent agenda items, and the board has been provided ample information about these items in advance. Prior to any action taken on the consent agenda, board members may request withdrawal of individual items for clarification and discussion. Board members, are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda at this time? Ms. Klein.
I would request removal of G, H, I, J, and K for just discussion.
G, H, I, J, and K?
Yes.
Okay. Any others? If there are no other items to be removed, do I have a motion regarding the consent agenda as amended?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve all items with the exception of G, H, I, J, and K.
Have a motion from Mr. Fleming. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Valenzuela. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. We will now address the items pulled from consent. Dr. Burns?
Yes, Mr. Matthews, members of the board, we're prepared to talk about each one of those and then answer any questions you might have, if you like. So we'll go ahead and start with G. Ms. Tillman.
Yes. Over the course of the past 6 months to a year, the district has been working on identifying and prioritizing many facility projects to utilize our remaining bond funds from the 2003 bond issue, as well as utilize our TIF funds. Data we gathered in order to make these decisions included a demographic study that was performed in the spring, along with a facility assessment that was performed this summer and into the fall, and finally a technology feasibility study to look at our NOC and the potential relocation of that building. This evening, we have 4 items up for discussion that we would like to provide you with some detailed information about those projects. We are ready to move forward with those projects, but the first steps this evening involve board action. So, Mr. Finley, we'll start with the first item, which is McLaughlin-Strickland.
Thank you, Ms. Tillman, Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, board members. The first item we're asking you to consider is the approval of the architectural service agreement to complete the design for McLaughlin-Strickland project. A very brief overview of that project. We're looking at a classroom addition, makerspace, and some collaborative spaces at approximately 24,000 square feet. The budget we're estimating, again, this is the initial stage, so the estimate for the budget is $7 to $7.5 million. The building, interestingly, the architect we are asking for the board to consider is Stantec, who did the original design of the Strickland building. In that design, they actually allocated a space that could be used as an addition, and we are looking at that space. Specifically, it's located on the east side of the building facing Webb's Chapel. The building, as you know, is a 2-story building, so we're also looking at this addition to be a 2-story addition.
Any questions about?
Any questions, board members?
I think that's really helpful to understand. I was worried if it was going to impact any of the playground or anything on the campus.
No, it's actually between, it's a piece of land that there's nothing on, and as a matter of fact,
I
to
think
add.
it's the old pre-K, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And this consolidation will benefit 3 areas from our operating efficiency for our redundancy that occurs at those buildings. It helps with the educational impact of our students to have them all in one facility. And McLaughlin, from the facility assessment, was actually one of our lowest rated campuses, meaning that the numbers indicate that it would be more expensive to renovate that building than to start over. So those 3 items together helped us make the decision that this was a priority. Along with that being chosen as a STEM location, it gave us the ability to incorporate the STEM program at the same time that we look at merging these facilities.
Earlier about security, and you'll look at that to possibly.
Yes, ma'am, that obviously would be a component for every building project we do.
Okay.
It is a priority that we will look at in the design.
Great.
So we are asking for approval of the documents presented for our architectural services. We do have one amendment as presented. We had a board member request the removal of a add-on on the reimbursables, and our architects have agreed to remove that. So that part is 11.82 that we are amending, and those items have been struck out of the contract we would be executing this evening.
Board members? Yes.
I would make a motion that we approve the item as presented for the professional services agreement as item G.
A motion from Mr. Shackman. I have a second from Mr. Ramos. All those in favor? That vote is unanimous. Any discussion? No, we're caught before the hearth. Next.
Next is item H.
Item H.
So, Mr. Finley, you want to just get in right?
I
right
will.
to 'em? Okay.
Item H is a similar request of the board for architectural services for the Landry project. The Landry Elementary is one of our signature stellar program locations. So this project specifically is looking at a 15,000 square foot addition with approximately 6 classrooms, a gymnasium, ensemble area, all designed after the stellar program that elementary is going to house. The preliminary budget is between $4.5 to $5 million for this project, and I apologize, I don't know the direction, but the obvious location for this addition would be at the front of the building, if that offers any help to the board.
Okay. Ms. Klein?
So it's getting a new gym? Or
It is. We are abiding by the new city code, which requires a storm shelter, and so that's exactly what that gym would entail. And the existing gym would be renovated, again, in a conceptual way, because we haven't gotten into design as part of the Fine Arts program.
Thank you.
I heard, and I'm just trying to clarify if that's in fact true, that the new storm shelter requirements require being underground?
No, sir.
No,
They,
okay,
they do not. They require very specific structural components, a separate electrical system, a generator. It has to be sealed off from the campus.
And this particular piece of the addition is also being driven to prepare for our demographic numbers for Mercer Crossing so that that campus could absorb those students, as well as the Stellar program as mentioned, and also the availability of TIF funds have already been approved for this particular piece of the Landry addition. So those two items drove this decision.
Any other discussion?
The amendment adjustment, the similar amendment adjustment.
Yes, this also is the exact same agreement with an adjustment to 11.82.
I would make a motion to approve item H for professional service agreements with Corrigan to provide for professional services for Landry Elementary.
Have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do we have a second? Have a second from Ms. Valenzuela. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Next up would be item I.
Aye. Yes. Mr. Finley?
Thank you, Dr. Burns. Very similar request. This again is for Corrigan to complete the architectural services for the new multi-purpose building and the NOC relocation at our Irving site. Just a sidebar, Corrigan was hired originally to do some of the very preliminary work on this project, so that contract is completed with Corrigan, so this is a new contract to complete the architectural work. So the preliminary work for the job had it sited on the south side of that Irving site on a specific area, quite frankly, but since that time we had a environmental study done. Turns out that location was over a former landfill, so it had some issues that would have to be mitigated if a building was built on this, and this is a good example of why these are very preliminary designs, because now we're looking at moving the building. So the exact location hasn't been determined, but that'll be worked out in conjunction with the team that will be both designing and building the project. The entire building is in the 40 to 50,000 square foot range, and as I mentioned, it will include the network operating center and all the ancillary spaces that go with the network operating center, which includes a meeting rooms, training rooms, and those kind of items. It also includes a multi-purpose banquet hall that could seat 500 people, a full kitchen, which we had mentioned in some earlier presentations, that has the potential to be used for our CTE programs, as Ms. Gillen suggested and talked about earlier in the evening. An exciting piece for our kids. So it's the largest project to be considered, and I think that's it, unless the board has any questions.
Ms. Tony, add that this is from the Irving TIF, and that the timelines on that?
Yes, for this project, in order to utilize the TIF funds, we do have to have the funds obligated by December 2018. So that's the timeline we're working under, and you'll see we're following this item with our CMAR, and the need for these to both be this evening was to get those items moving forward. So that was our driving.
Yeah, obligated.
Yes. It depends on which attorney you talk with, but we feel comfortable if we have signed off on all the guaranteed maximum price, and we've made it to that point that we will have obligated the district to the extent that we would be within compliance of the definition. We do have a legal definition, but it's about 3 pages long to determine if it's obligated or not.
Any discussion, board members?
Similar amendment on 11.8.
Yes, this agreement also has the amendment to 11.8.2.
And I would mention, this agreement has been fully vetted with our attorneys. through a number of times, actually. And so this agreement is going to be our base agreement that we're going to move forward with the consideration of the board.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds.
Motion that we approve the professional services agreement with Corgan to provide architectural services for the multipurpose facility.
Have a motion from Mr. Reynolds. Have a second from Mr. Shackman. Any discussion? All those in favor? That vote is unanimous. Next up would be letter J.
Go ahead, Mr. Finley.
Well, this is a little bit different. So what we're asking the board to consider on this item is approval of CSP 18-02-082-0, which is an agreement for the construction manager at risk to complete the NOC multipurpose building. This is a unique opportunity for school districts to partner with a contracting firm very early in the design process. The firm of Balfour Beatty was ranked highest by all 3 members of the committee to complete this work. And that is our recommendation to complete this job. Again, I would mention that they're an initial piece of this team that is put together in order to make those decisions that are in the best interest of the school district, which would include helping with cost estimating, helping with siting, which I mentioned earlier, and actually helping with the design.
Any discussion, board members? Shackman?
Mr. Finley, we know we need to be obligated by December to make sure that we're compliant with the TIF funds utilization. Any projections on the timeline? When are we going to have dinner at the banquet hall?
So we are working on an early schedule, which would have the building opened sometime in the fall of 2000, or is it the winter of 2019? I can't remember. There's so many August 2019. We will move quickly. Again, this is part of our very early discussions with the CMAR, if approved, on how the schedule is actually built and when the bidding pieces and when the groundbreaking will actually occur. But we're keeping in mind the date that Ms. Tillman is mentioned.
Any discussion? Ms. Valenzuela?
I move that we approve the CSP 18-02-082-0 for Construction Manager at Risk Network Operations Center NOC relocation one-step method.
I have a motion from Ms. Valenzuela. Do I have a second? I have a second from Ms. Herbachik. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. That brings us to item K.
Okay. Mr. Finley.
This will be our final request from the board, and it is for the approval of architectural services for the signature program renovation additions that we have spoken about. I would note that this is again with Corgan Architects, who did some of our preliminary work and investigation on this. The other point I would like to note, to make sure the board is aware, it is a different fee than the 6% fee. It's a 10% fee, which is a typical fee change for projects of this nature and this size. But I did want to make the board aware of that.
I thought it was 8%.
You are correct. It is 8%. Okay. I misspoke.
That's better than 10.
Thank you. It is better than 10%. You're absolutely right.
On ours, it's much better.
Oh, yeah.
There are 9. And we're looking at a very tight construction schedule for this summer.
Any discussion?
And similar amendment to 11 point.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any sneak preview of what the look is?
No, there are a couple of factors that are dictating some of this, especially with the signage out front, which is a big component of it. There are very strict city codes in all the cities on signage. It has to do with square footage and materials. So that's going to dictate a lot of the design. So we will be looking at some preliminary things that will reflect what the code and city requirements are on all those things.
Any board members, any discussion? Have a motion, Ms. Lane?
I would make a motion to approve item K, consider approval of professional services agreements with Corrigan to provide architectural services for signature programs renovations.
Have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Valenzuela. Any discussion?
11.8.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? That vote is unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Finley.
Thank you.
Ms. Tillman. Our next agenda item is number 7, consider approval of administrator contracts. Dr. Burns, will there be a presentation on this item?
President Matthews and members of the board, if you remember in the past, sometimes we've had this on the consent agenda, but we felt like it's always good to kind of have the public know and the procedure behind that and what's the board's role in approving contracts kind of en masse like that. And so Dr. Coleman's going to kind of give you the why behind this.
Yes, good evening, trustees. It's an honor every year to bring contract recommendations to you for employees. We bring central staff, employees, and administrator staff employees. They're being brought to you this evening. The recommendations are coming through Dr. Burns after consulting with the administration pursuant to policy. And this is only the first round of the contract recommendations that you're going to receive. Tonight, we're asking you to approve the contract recommendations for the administrators, some campus administrators, and mostly central administrators that have been made for you tonight. And we will be bringing back teacher contracts for you to approve next month.
And you received that information in separate cover, itemized by campuses.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Coleman. Board members, do you have any questions? This item is marked for action. Is there a motion to be heard? Ms. Klein?
I would like to recommend approval of the administrator contracts, item number 7.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Ms. Valenzuela? Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Next, agenda item number 8, report on Irving Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 1 will now be addressed. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, President Matthews, members of the board. I'm going to turn this over for Ms. Tillman for some additional information.
We wanted to provide you with a brief update of our TIF programs, focused largely on Irving. But just as a reminder, we have TIF zones that enable taxing entities to fund certain improvements and provide for revitalization of specific geographical areas. TIF zones are designed to finance infrastructure projects that encourage commercial growth. Within CFB, we have 3 TIF zones that we have participated in. Our Irving TIF number 1 is our largest, which is set to expire December 31, 2018. We have our Farmers Branch TIF number 1 set to expire in December 2018. And then we have our smaller Farmers Branch TIF number 2 set to expire July 20, 2019. Basically, the way these TIFs work is that within these geographic areas, those property are designated as TIF properties. We collect those taxes. We then make a payment that goes off to the TIF board. They then send a portion of that payment back to the district that can be utilized for school zone projects that have been approved by both the TIF board, the city council, and you all, the CFB board. As we focus on our Irving TIF, which is our largest TIF to date, payments that we have made into the TIF total $168.5 million approximately. Payments returned to CFB have been $112.9 million. Remembering that 67% of the 168 comes back to the district again for projects specific to the school district. We have two payments remaining, one this 2018, and then we have one final payment in 2019. To date, we've funded $60 million worth of projects within Irving and also within the zone. The first project that was funded was La Villita Elementary, along with the purchase of the land that La Villita is on. We also recently added a 9-classroom addition to that school. We've purchased a 20.3 acre facility site within La Vita. Recent additions to Ranch View were funded partially with TIF funds as well as bond funds. We added 19 classrooms, 3 flex spaces, indoor practice facility, auditorium, band hall, ensemble rooms, weight room, and dressing room enhancements. We also added on to Bush. We added 4 classrooms, 2 flex spaces, and enlarged the cafeteria. The Ranch View track underwent improvements, and the Bush track was completely replaced. All of these projects were completely funded with TIF funds. Those funds had to be used within Irving and had to be used on infrastructure, basically. As we've worked with the board and looked for options to utilize the remainder of the funds, we just wanted to remind you that we did come up with different categories to drive our thinking. So we looked at projects and we wanted to make sure that these projects served a critical need. We wanted to make sure that projects we added do not add significantly to the operational costs of the district. We wanted to make sure they serve a public school purpose. They have to benefit the TIF zone, and they also needed to impact our goal of high achievement. With those in mind, as we've looked at projects remaining, these are projects that have already been approved and are within the project plan right now. We've mentioned our relocation of our NOC and a multipurpose facility that has been approved. We also have the Landry Elementary addition, which is phase 1 of that project within the plan. We have the opportunity to buy land within Irving. We've been looking actively for land. We just have not been able to find the appropriate location to date. And finally, the exterior enhancements that Mr. Finley mentioned related to our signature programs can also be funded currently out of the TIF funds. Projects we'd like to consider, which we have presented to the TIF zone board, and they were open to these items, include a second phase to our Landry Elementary Fine Arts Academy, which would be approximately $12.5 million, which would be a complete remodel and upgrade to this campus. If you've been in that campus recently or ever, you've noticed a distinct design with that campus where there are 4 pods of classroom with space in the middle. That's not functioning well in today's structure, and so we would like to remove that and rebuild those classrooms to make them more effective and to align with the current programs. We've also found that bonds can be paid with these TIF funds. So any programs that have been funded since the beginning of the TIF can be utilized, and our TIF board was open to this option. Our attorneys have researched this and indicated bond payments are already within the program plan. They just have not been a line item. So we wanted to make that a line item. Right now we're including bond funds that were used partially for the Ranch View project I just mentioned. We also had some recent Freeman additions, as well as the rebuild of Las Colinas. So we would like to pay those bonds and interest off with these funds, which would lower the overall debt to all of our taxpayers within the district, but specifically would also benefit the zone and Irving. Those are the 3 projects we would like for consideration to be taken by our board along with the City of Irving and the TIF board. The amendment process has proven to be a lengthy process just to make it through these 3 boards, largely because of the scheduling of the meetings. So we have already presented once to the TIF board. We have the amendment prepared. Our attorneys have reviewed it. The City of Irving attorneys have reviewed it and are in agreement with the wording currently being presented. So our next step is to take it back to the TIF board. Upon this board's approval, they will consider it on March 20th. If they approve it, then it would go to the City Council on April 5th. At that point, the amendment would be fully complete, and we'd be able to go forward with the Phase 2 Landry as well as our bond, continue looking for our other projects as well. So those are the items we're currently looking at with our Irving TIF, and would open it up for any questions at this point.
Board members, do you have any questions?
Approving the amendment and the things listed in those amendments, that's just the TIF agreement, not the board approving those projects that they would happen.
That's correct. That's just giving us the opportunity to be able to use those funds on those projects.
Mr. Shatton?
agree and the amendment goes through and we get to spend those funds as projected, where will that bring us in our TIF balance?
So right now, that would basically spend the majority of the funds. What we think we would have left would be the land funds. So when we get to the amendment, I can walk through you with that because I'll have the numbers in front of me. But that's the area that we potentially would have left, along with some items that are in the operating cost line. That's a line item. And we still have a significant number in the NOC TLC because until we really get into the design of the NOC and get further along, we want to make sure we have enough funds in there, along with our phone system, because both of those are going to be very large replacements of entire systems. So we have built in quite a bit of cushion still in that number as well. So those two numbers would be the ones that would be left over. But we'll go through the numbers and I will walk through those and tell you which ones we've utilized.
Any other questions, board members? Ms. Klein?
Diligence of exploring all opportunities for trying to exhaust this money so that it benefits our kids in our school district.
Okay. The next item will be lay out some of the details, as Ms. Tillman said, on the costs. That was just a report, so.
Right. This is,
This is your next item 9.
Yep. Okay, item 9 is considering all matters related to amending the Irving Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1 project plan and the district's participation agreement. This item is marked for action. Board members?
Yeah, Mr. Matthew, member of the board, I'm almost ready to say this because Tanya may be the reigning expert on TIFs in the state after all of this, but she's going to walk you through this and get us to our recommendation. So, Ms. Tillman?
If you could turn to page 10, please, you'll see the line items that are being amended. These are the estimates for CFB projects. These are marked as estimates only, but because of the significant changes in some of our numbers, we wanted these approved before we move forward. So if you look at the first line, the land cost for La Vita, those funds have all been spent. The next line item for the school, those have been spent as well. The additions and expansions, those have all been spent. The next line is the multipurpose facility. You can see we lowered that from 53 to 34. 53 was when we were really talking a broad range of options there, so we put a large number in there and we've downsized to appropriate size for CFB. So we still have a large cushion in that number, so if we stay around the 25, then you'll see we'll have funds left over in that line item that we could potentially utilize in another manner. The next line, the 42.5, we've spent all of those funds with the exception of the 4.5 we just talked about at Landry for the Phase 1 addition. So all the other funds were spent at Ranch View and Bush. Then you see the last item is additional project costs. I'm sorry, there's another page. Additional project costs is about $4.8 million. We have about $2 million left in that line item. And then the very next item on the next page, page 11, the land cost, the $8 million, we did lower that one. So that could be potential funds left over. And then the last item are payments on bonds for 26.7. So the two line items potentially that would be left over would be the $8 million in land, and then however much we come under on the multipurpose facility on the 34.5. So that's where we would stand with this amendment. These are really the only changes is to change our project costs. This would take our total up to 148.1 that would be coming back into the district.
Ms. Klein?
That 148 include the last slog of money that comes through, like the end of this year or the beginning of next year?
Yes, that estimates our payment that will be coming back this summer along with our 2019 payment.
Okay, again, board members, this item is marked for action. Do I have a motion? Mr. Shackman?
Matthews, I would move that we approve the amendment to the Irving Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1 Project Plan, Finance Plan, the District Participation Agreement.
Have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? Have a second from Mr. Fleming. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our next agenda item is item number 10. Discussion concerning the retirement of our superintendent. Board members, any discussion that you would like to make it now. This is-
What's the discussion?
No, I think this is,
Observation?
yeah, I think this was suggested by our council just to give you a broad way to talk about it and then go into your next session for consultation. So you certainly don't have to have any discussion at the time. You may later, but this would allow you to do it if you
I
want.
just have an observation.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Matthews, I think we're going to need to find another superintendent if Dr. Burns is seriously serious about this stance that he has taken.
Well, I think it was.
Do you agree?
I think he was kidding, really. I don't think he's serious.
I think he's
so,
serious.
At least I would hope. Well, that was the first thing. We don't have to let him go, but then as it turned out, if he wants to, I guess we don't have much of a choice in the matter. So. Okay. We don't need to say anything else, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, our next agenda item is number 11, a closed meeting as authorized under the Texas Government Code, including but not limited to section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, real property, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, security devices, 551.082, school district / district employees / disciplinary matter or complaint, 551.0821, personally identifiable student information, 551.084, investigation. Now, the board will meet in a closed session to deliberate the following matters. A, pursuant to section 551.071 Texas Government Code, consultation with district legal counsel regarding legal issues related to the superintendent contract transition and search process. And B, pursuant to section 551.074 Texas Government Code, deliberations regarding superintendent's retirement. Audience members, you are welcome to remain in the boardroom as board members recess and move into the room 150, the executive conference room for deliberations. The time is now 9:05. This meeting is recessed. We are back on the record in open session, having returned from closed session. The time is now, what is that? 10:47 p.m. Board members, our next agenda item is number 12, consider and take possible action regarding contract, transition, and/or search process. Is there a motion to be made at this time?
Mr.
Mr.
Matthews?
Shackman?
Based on consensus of the board in our closed session, I would like to make a motion that we authorize the president of the board to contact the Texas Association of School Boards, their executive superintendent search division, and ask them to bring a presentation to this board. Primary target date would be next Thursday. And that motion would also include that we intend to work closely with that group or a group to gather community support and to move this process forward in a timely manner, committed to high achievement for all students.
I have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Well said, by the way, Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. The board will move on to the next agenda item, number 13, comments from board members regarding posted agenda items. Board members, do any of you have any comments you wish to make at this time? Hearing none, seeing none. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned at 10:49.
I would just say we appreciate our audience.
Yes, thank y'all for sticking around. I mean, that was